Welcome back to Wasted, the podcast where we listen to those who know weight loss best. I'm talking about you, my plus size baddies. Hi, I'm Corey, your host and resident plus size baddie. You may know me from TLC's Too Large, Now Dangerously Obese. I used to be 664 pounds, and in the past 5 years, I've completely transformed my life and lost over 450 pounds. This week, we get to talk about how to get back on the horse when you fall off, how to find success and perseverance with your weight loss journey instead of, I hit a bump and I have to restart. And so before we get into how to get back on the horse when you fall off, we get to talk about non-scale victories. And this week for me, it came out of thin air. I'm getting ready to move to my new apartment, and the place where I'm currently staying has horses. Now, I love to go out, see these horses, pet them. Oh my goodness, I love horses. I always have, ever since I was a kid. I got a message from the host where I'm staying, and she was like, I know you're getting ready to move. How would you feel about coming out to ride one of the horses? And my first thought was, girl, I don't know if I'm the weight limit. I literally sent her my weight in kilograms, and I was like, is this okay? I would absolutely love to ride a horse, but I used to be 664 pounds. Never did I think this day would come. So I messaged her my weight, and she messaged me back, and she was like, you're good to go. Like, we can absolutely ride the horse. Do you want to do it this week? Guys, I'm going to get to ride a fucking horse. I used to be 664 pounds, and now I'm about to hop on top of a horse and ride it? Never before. You would have needed a horse in front of me to carry the wagon with which I was in, and now the horse can carry me? That's what weight loss is all about. That's what non-scale victories are. And could a scale ever give me that type of satisfaction? Under no circumstances could a scale actually give me that type of satisfaction. So this week, I get to go ride a fucking horse, and I am so goddamn excited. The only thing I think that I'm nervous about with this going to ride a horse is that I have to hop on this thing. Like, I have to put one leg up and throw myself over the horse. Now, when I go to the gym, leg day is my day. And so I'm fairly confident that I'm going to be able to do this no problem. But it's just such a wild place to be in, where when I was 664 pounds, I'm here to pet the horses, never ride them. But just over time, now I can ride a fucking horse. And the only way I'm able to do that is when I would fall off the horse in terms of my weight loss program. I had to find a way to get back up and get on and keep riding. And let's just pray that I don't fall off the horse that I'm actually going to ride. But when it comes to weight loss, the number one way you're going to get to your goal is by learning how to hop back on that horse when you fall off. So oftentimes with weight loss, we're trying to sprint to the finish line. And if you sprint, you aren't changing anything about your lifestyle. You're just taking on a whole new set of hurdles, and you've convinced yourself that you can run straight to the finish line. That's life when you pay attention to the scale. All you're trying to do is get to a certain number on that scale. And so you start your weight loss, and so you start your journey, and you're looking at that scale, and the scale's not sprinting with you. The scale's taking its sweet fucking time. It may sprint with you a little bit at the beginning, then it tapers off. And it's not giving you the result you wanted, because that's what you're chasing. A result, not a lifestyle. So what do? First, you take a bat to your scale. Not actually, but stop using it. Stop relying on it. Don't let that be the way in which you judge your weight loss. So instead of sprinting, real sustained weight loss is all about aligning. You want to be X weight? Great. Yet you focus on that number and not the lifestyle changes. And let's be clear, restriction and deprivation aren't lifestyle changes. They're weight loss assassins. So that's the things that you're focusing on when you're trying to sprint towards the finish line, that the scale will finally say, oh, he's at this weight. And you're doing that through restriction and deprivation, wondering why you aren't getting anywhere. And well, that's the reason. So stop sprinting towards your weight loss goal. Stop it. Get rid of it. Any idea that you're going to sprint there, get out of your head. Does that suck knowing that, hey, I'm not going to go from 600 pounds to 200 in the next year? Yeah, but guess what? You could go from 600 to 500, 500 to 400, 400 to 300, and just slow the roll. So the way you focus on actual sustainable weight loss is, again, I'm not a car guy, but you got to get in that right-hand lane. You're going on the highway, from thick bitch to skinny bitch, and you try to go to that left-hand lane and go as fast as you can. And guess what? That ain't going to get you nowhere. If anything, you're going to crash and burn on your way of trying to cut through 18 lanes of traffic at once. Instead, you start slowly making changes until you lose weight. And as you're adopting more and more lifestyle changes, you're moving from that right lane to the next lane, to the next lane, to the next lane. And if you're focused on the habits and the actions and all the things that are about sustainable weight loss, you're going to be in that left-hand lane cruising in no time. But if your goal is to get into that left-hand lane and not to slowly adjust over, guess what? You're going to crash and you're going to burn. So let me be honest. If you can master this idea of aligning, you can already consider yourself at your goal weight. You just have to give your body time to catch up to your new lifestyle. But if you're on this restriction and deprivation diet, well, it's not your body trying to catch up. It's your body trying to keep up. And it's not going to happen. But it doesn't matter what option you take, because no matter what, you're still going to have bumps in the road. I mean, here's an example. You're a plus-size person. How many times have you had a meal, and whether you're at home, at a restaurant, wherever, and a fry accidentally falls off the plate onto the floor? Oh, my goodness. Say a little prayer, sing a little Ave Maria, the fry's a goner. But if you're in your weight loss, and you're focused on getting to that scale and that restriction and deprivation, that fry falls on the floor and you throw your whole plate on the floor. You say, well, I made a mistake, and you throw it all on the floor, and I'll try again next year. Are you kidding me? You still have a plate of perfectly good fries. And guess what? You may drop more fries on the floor. It's going to happen. And so tell me that isn't the dumbest shit you've heard. At no point in the world should we, as a plus-size person, ever be throwing all the fries on the floor just because one falls. But that's what's been given to us by our forefathers, by fad dieting, and just by skinny culture. So let's say you decide to sprint. You have the motivation, you can sustain that willpower, and you do it. You get started and you begin sprinting. You sprint to your goal, but you didn't pick up a single sustainable practice. Again, sprinting is all about getting to the goal no matter what. And so you're not focusing on practices and sustainability and making sure you have a weight loss program that'll give you long-term success. No. You want that number on that scale, and you want it now. Well, what's going to happen is you're going to be swimming in the deep end, and nobody taught you how to tread water. You didn't take the time to learn how to tread water. No. You said, I'm going to get in that deep end. So what happens? You fail. You regain your weight, and you get mad at yourself even more and wonder, oh, why couldn't I do it? There must be something wrong with me. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you. The only thing that's wrong is what the fuck you're trying to do with your weight loss plan. You hear people who are skinnier than you all the time do it. They just restrict themselves for a couple months so that they can have hot girl summer. Yet every winter, it's the same thing, and they're back at square one having to restrict themselves to get to hot girl summer. The weight loss you should be going for is where you have a hot girl life and not a hot girl season. I mean, these people who are going through this hot girl summer and they're depriving themselves, they may only have 10, 15 pounds that they need to lose. And so being able to deprive yourself for 2 months, yeah, that can get you to your goal. And then you have your nice hot girl summer, but you haven't changed anything when it comes to the way in which you actually live. And so after those 2 months of deprivation, you go back to living the way you normally do. And guess what? The weight comes back on. Oh my goodness, why would it come back? I thought I got rid of it. No, she's sticking to you like a bad ex. She wants to come back like nobody's business. And if you don't set up boundaries and healthy practices, she'll be knocking at your door. So all you got to do is stop sprinting and start aligning. Get it out of your head that, oh, I'm going to run as fast as I can to get to my goal weight. Ain't wrong. That right there is going to get you to your goal weight as slow as humanly fucking possible. You think it's the fastest because, yeah, all you have to do is get from A to B. It's that simple, and you just run as fast as you can. Yet you ain't got no coordination. You start sprinting, you trip, fall, eat shit. A fry falls on the floor, and well, you set the forest up in flames, and you're like, well, I'll try again next year. So stop sprinting. Start aligning. Aligning. All aligning is you're adopting these new lifestyle habits, these new ways of living. And you're beginning to live the way that the future version of you is going to live. You are beginning to accept the habits and the lifestyles and the recipes and the workout routines, all slowly over time. But all you're doing is morphing into your future self. That's it. We're going to talk about today. How do I fucking stop sprinting? Because that's all I've ever known and been taught to do. And how do I start aligning? I mean, with weight loss surgery, it's actually really cool because after you get that weight loss surgery, you can't just restart. I just got surgery. You think I'm going to go ahead and get it in 2 months? No, that's not how weight loss surgery works. You get weight loss surgery, and it's such a good tool because it keeps you on track, even when you start to fall off at the beginning. Guess what? It doesn't matter how much surgery you've had, you will still regain the weight. So, how do we deal with the inevitable fall from grace? When we're on our weight loss program and all of a sudden life hits a little too hard and we go off book, we go off course, we start improving weight loss. And so the first thing you do when you make a mistake on your weight loss journey, the very first thing you do, you give yourself grace. You allow yourself, if you're binging on something, binge it, eat it. If you have the willpower in the midst of eating it or whatever it is to get rid of it, do so. But give yourself grace and allow yourself to just do it. In no world are you ever going to cause so much harm that you've undone all the good. In no world. But yet you think because you have this one binge episode, oh, I've gained 45 pounds. In no way, shape, or form are you going to be able to binge that much. So understand that a mistake, no matter how big, is actually going to be pretty small. Now you may hop on that scale and it go buck wild. It tells you, well, nope, you've gained 7 pounds. Guess what? The beginning of this week, I was up 7 pounds. Today, I'm down 2 pounds for a total of 9 pounds from where I was earlier this week. Why? Because our bodies are just weird and I hate the fucking scale. Sometimes you're heavier some days than you are others. You had too much salt, you're retaining water, you're bloated, whatever it is. The scale's going to change. So start thinking about the scale like weather. Weather is what happens today. You're looking at it and it's rainy, it's cloudy, it's sunny. Stepping on the scale is looking at weather. You need to be looking at climate change. And so your climate is weather over a long period of time. And so that's what you need to be using the scale for climate, not weather. Because if you're using that scale day in and day out, it's going to lie to you. It's going to tell you everything you don't want to hear and try to discourage you on your weight loss journey. So stop giving the scale power and get rid of it. Take a back to it. So the first thing you do, give yourself grace. You allow yourself to eat what you're doing, and you just do that. If I'm hungry and I'm binging on ice cream, guess what? I got to this point because I wasn't listening to my body. I didn't follow what I needed to. And so now I'm binging. And guess what? I'm not going to sit here and try to restrict it now because if I do, I'm just going to be that much more in a place to binge tomorrow. So binge today. Give yourself the day. Give yourself the grace. There's nothing wrong with a bad day. And step 2, listen to the feedback. Every time you're failing, you're learning something. Stop thinking it's a willpower issue and use what you're learning to find a new strategy. You have to be smart with this weight loss thing. It's not simple as you do X, Y, Z and boom, the weight's gone. No. X, Y, Z doesn't account for you and who you are, even on your worst days. And so that's what you need to be planning for and trying to account for. And so don't think it's a willpower issue. Well, I just need to buckle in harder tomorrow. We've learned that willpower is a fatigable resource. And so if you're on a weight loss program and it's having you use a lot of willpower, it's not sustainable. It's not going to work. So you have to bring down the amount of effort it takes to sustain that new habit, that new behavior, whatever it is you're trying to implement. And the reason I say new habit, new behavior, whatever you're trying to implement, it's because you shouldn't be going balls to the wall. You want to pick up a few new habits, absolutely go for it. But don't go over the top. Focus on just a few at first. Get those, master those, slowly ease and transition, and then take on more. And that's weight loss. That's this whole podcast summed up in one little note. But so you listen to that feedback so many times, and this is with me, I'll get to the end of the night And I have sweets in my house that I kind of like. I don't have the sweets in my house that I love because if I love them, they'll never see the next day. So I keep food in my house that I kind of like. And when I get hungry, I go and I eat that. But there's some nights where I just want sugar and I want sweets. And so I'll go through and I'll eat everything in my fridge that has the smallest amount of sugar because that's what I'm craving. When in reality, if I was at the store that morning and I just listened to my body and bought cookies, a donut, ice cream, whatever it was I was craving that was full sugar and that made me not feel restricted, I should have gotten it in that moment. I should have gotten one and brought it home. And so that way, when I got hungry, I had something there. But I just said I went through and I ate all the sugar in my fridge. However, all the sugar in my fridge was low calorie, high volume. So even though I ate all that sugar, I really didn't do too much damage to my weight loss program. I'd say barely any. But what did I learn? I learned that I started to crave sweets. And one of the ways is I just have a sweet tooth. There's going to be days and times where I want sweets. That's what it is. And so I plan for that. I have sweets in the house that I kind of like for when I need a fix. And some days that fix is just one, maybe two. Other days, the fix is the entire shelf. But I understand that. And I have a weight loss program that allows me to do that and still continue to lose weight and still get closer to my goal every day. So it could be something that I'm hungry at night. Well, you start looking back and you go, well, in the morning, I had breakfast, I had lunch. For lunch, I had a salad, and then I had a little snack, a few carrots later on. And then I didn't really get to eat dinner until 8 or 9 p.m. Well, if the last time you ate before 8 or 9 p.m. was over 6 hours ago and you had no protein, then guess what? By the time it gets to 8 p.m., 9 p.m., guess what? You're going to be famished, starving. You're going to want to put everything in your fridge in your body. And so, one of the things you do when you recognize that you're having an issue is you actually name what happened. You identify what happened. Is it that I wasn't getting enough protein in that day? Remember, with protein is what stimulates your stomach and signals the GLP hormone, the thing that everyone's taking, Ozempic. That is what protein signals. And so when you eat protein, it's going to signal that more than any other type of food. It's like a refresh button, though. You know, we're talking about calories and it's a phone and you're the phone. Well, protein is what allows you to touch the phone and keep the light on. However, every so often it'll start to dim. And if you let it go off, then you click your phone and you have 1,000 notifications. And it's like, where did these come from? Well, now you're famished, you're starving, and you want everything in your fridge in your body. Instead of realizing that, hey, the last time I had protein was 6 hours ago. And protein, if it's like that refresh button, I should be having protein at every meal and I should be incorporating snacks that have protein for no other reason than signaling that GLP hormone so it will shut the fuck up and my body will let me live in peace. It also could be that you were having a stressful day. You were lonely. Your environment, you had friends over and you wanted to cook for them. And in cooking for them, you cooked something that they would enjoy, not the low calorie version. And so you were left with those leftovers after. You have to become a mastermind at what's happening and what it's doing so you can catch it and you can name it and you can identify it. Once you've realized what it was, find a new strategy. So I went 6 hours without protein and therefore I binged. And so the fix is I have protein with every meal. Bing, bang, boom, all set. And I know I said you have the friends come over. It could be a situation where you say, "Hey girls, hey guys, you're taking leftovers home." And you push it out on them and you say, "Hey, you take this. If I have it here, I will eat it." If you want to do that and send them home with your Tupperware, do it. Otherwise, throw them in the trash. Whatever it is that you have left, throw it in the trash. Oh, well, Corey, there's starving children in Africa. Well, there's starving children in America too. It won't make a difference because by the time it gets to them, it's going to spoil. So throw it in the fucking trash. And so now that you've gone through and you've actually decided what it was that caused the issue, for me, sometimes I know that if I have sweets, high value sweets that I absolutely love and they're in my house, environment's my trigger and I'm going to eat them. So I have to find a way to eat them without having them in my environment and without binging them because I'm still going to want them. I'm still going to crave them. But how do I do it without derailing my weight loss plan? In a situation like this, do exactly as I do. Have sweets that you kind of like, that you don't go grab for unless you have a sweet tooth. And if you want the good, the really high value treats, go get them. Go out the door, go to the store and grab them. Get them for you however you have to, but don't go without. Just put little barriers in between you and those items. And that goes back to controlling your environment. But finding a new strategy is going to be the biggest piece of the puzzle. And if you're having trouble finding a new strategy, comment down below what you're struggling with, the issues that you're having, and see if I or maybe someone else listening to this podcast can't help you troubleshoot and find a new strategy to help you get to your goal. So you found that new strategy, that thing you're going to try. It shouldn't be this big, oh, I'm going to have to use nothing but restriction and deprivation. I made this mistake and now I'm going to overcorrect. Don't overcorrect. You're finding a strategy that you can work in that's going to be sustainable, something that you're going to be able to do even on the days where you have none of the motivation. And the second thing is if I'm eating foods that I don't like and I don't want, and I'm forcing myself to eat that, that's not working. I'm going to fail. And so my strategy is to find recipes that I actually like, that I actually enjoy. So you may have to go through a few different recipes, but you find ones that you like. And that way, it's not that you're eating food that you hate, you're eating food that you love, food that you would rather have over the full fat food, because this isn't food that tastes bad. This is food that tastes amazing, but it's low calorie, high protein, and it's going to get you to your goal. And so let's say you found your new strategy, and it could be non-food related. It could be going to the gym. For example, when I go to the gym, I love going to the gym. However, what do I hate more than anything? Squats. I hate doing squats. Don't get me wrong. I love and I enjoy them, especially when I'm done with them. But before I do that squat, I hate it. I hate it. And for a while there, I was putting too much emphasis on those squats. And so there's some days that I don't want to do squats. And so I just don't do them. And that takes off the pressure. That takes off that work, the amount of willpower that I'm going to need to go to the gym and overcome it. And so my strategy is, well, some weeks I just don't do squats. But instead of missing out on an exercise, I use the leg press machine. It's going to give me similar results to the squat machine, but it's going to be a lot less effort on me. And suddenly, just like that, the gym's doable again. And I can go back to going as hot and heavy as I want to. So you've had a day, you make a mistake, you recognize what caused it, you have a new strategy that you want to implement. You wake up the next day and you're ready to implement it. What's the first thing you do? You have a perfectly normal day. You do not overcorrect. And if what you're trying to implement and trying to change, even in that day, if it feels too much, try to find a modified version of it that will allow you to just get through today, to show yourself that I did a little bit of the habit today, even if I didn't do the full thing, so that the next day when you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm ready to begin again, you can then start with the full version, but you didn't fall off. You didn't hold yourself to this high standard that you weren't going to achieve that day. You instead gave yourself a little grace. You did a modified version so that you could hop on track and come back on day 2. But day 1, so oftentimes we have that new plan of correction. And what is that new plan of correction? I'm just going to do it harder and faster. Whatever I was doing before was a weak sauce. Today, I had a French fry last night. I'm going to run 10 miles today. 10 miles. Why? Because I need to punish myself. Ugh. It's like we're back to that Nazi mentality that weight loss has to be horrible, that it has to be monotonous, that it has to be hard. If your weight loss strategy is any of those things, you're doing it wrong. You need a weight loss program that is easy, that you can lean into, that you can slowly start to build habits, lifestyle changes until you're pretty much living the lifestyle of the skinnier version of you. You're living the life of whatever weight you're hoping to be at. And if you're living that lifestyle, eating those calories, doing the things, your weight will catch up. It's like imposter syndrome. Fake it till you make it. Let that be your weight loss. Find those new habits, fake it, and guess what? Eventually time will catch up and bam, you made it. And so you wake up that day, you are giving yourself grace. You are not overcorrecting. You're not punishing yourself. And instead, you implement your new strategy. What you're going to try to do and what you've thought about, what caused the issue, how you've identified it, and what you're going to do different, that's what you do next. You wake up, you have a perfectly normal day, and you implement your strategy. Like for me, for so long, I'm telling you, one of the biggest things I did before I started on my weight loss journey was I would drink Coke, sweet tea, You name it, if it was a beverage with sugar, it was mine. And I know that about me. And so I know that I like sweet beverages. And so what did I do? I switched to the sugar-free alternatives. And even then, after so long, I love those. I love the sugar-free alternatives, and I want to slowly start to wean myself off. Well, the way I've done that is at first, I just stopped drinking them and I would only drink water. And well, that failed. And then I'd wake up the next day, and even till now, I'll try to overcorrect sometimes. And that's what I would do. I'd be like, well, you're only drinking water today. Don't think about anything else, mister. Otherwise, you'll be in big trouble. And it just didn't work. And so I said, okay, well, I want you to drink at least one bottle of water when you start. And then you can't drink any after 4 p.m. And that worked for a minute. That worked. And then I started to feel the stress kind of creep back in. And I felt like I was depriving myself, that I was in that restrictive mindset. And the reason is because 4 p.m. sometimes hits a little early. And so I gave myself the grace. It doesn't have to be 4 p.m., but it just has to be around 4 p.m. It could be 4, 5, maybe 6. But there are days where I feel so restricted by that. So I had to listen to that because I did begin failing again. And I said, why am I not able to sustain this? It's because I was in the restrictive mindset. My body wanted it, or at least wanted to have the option to go and get it. And so that's what I did. I added the ability, if after 4 p.m., I can go out and I can get any beverage I want, preferably without caffeine. If I'm still craving those sugar-free, I can just walk down to the store and get a sugar-free whatever. I can go out and get it. I'm not restricted. This one habit, I'm telling you, you want to talk about the final boss for me. And so I'm trying to find the way that I can have it and still have success in my weight loss program. And it's taken a lot of tinkering, a lot of implementing new strategies, a lot of failing, forgiving myself for failing, and then waking up the next day using what I've learned and finding a new strategy and a new way to work forward. A lot of the strategies I've made in my weight loss journey are strategies that allow me to binge, to eat whatever I want and still lose weight. As I'm getting closer to my goal weight, this is a strategy that I want, but it requires moderation. It requires me to not constantly be overdoing it, over binging myself. But I found success with it, and I still find success with it. And I'm so amazed by it because had you gone back in time and told this to 664-pound me, he'd be like, you've lost your mind. Maybe sugar-free sweet tea, but you've lost your mind. And it may not have worked for me then, but it works for me now. And same with Cool Whip. I used to love Cool Whip, the fat-free version of it. And still to this day, I'll go eat some. But I also know that I loved it too much, and so I had to get rid of it from my fridge and replace it with food that I kind of like. And so when I was first starting out and losing the weight, the Cool Whip was great for me because it was a big bulk. I could eat it. It's not derailing my weight loss mission. I can eat the entire container. I could eat 2, 3 containers of it, and it's still not causing harm to my weight loss journey. And then I switched to a more restrictive. These are items that I like, I don't love. I have them around my house. And so that way, when I get hungry, I reach for those. Not the Cool Whip, nothing else, because if I reach for the Cool Whip, I'm going to want a lot of the Cool Whip. And so I had to find myself something that I just want a little of. And that's the wonderful part about this process is as you're starting in the right-hand lane and slowly getting over to that fast lane, you're going to start to pick up new habits, use them, and then as those strategies aren't working for you anymore, find ways to adopt them, to modify them. It's an ongoing journey, but the whole point of this is that you don't fall off and quit. You don't drop one fry off your plate and throw the whole plate on the floor. How dumb does that sound? Yet and I'd say almost everyone listening to this podcast, we do it. It's that perfectionist mindset, and you need to get out of it. And all of that perfectionist mindset, it is tied to the scale, and it is tied to looking at your progress and making sure that that scale is reflecting it. Instead, the scale, you should be checking in to making sure that your weight loss is going down, but not using it as the measure of your weight loss success, because people will look at everything I just said about me and drinking sugar-free beverages and even the Cool Whip and be like, Corey, you know nothing about weight loss. What are you doing? You can't eat that. The fuck I can. How do you think I got to be the size that I am now? How do you think I lost 450 pounds? It wasn't because I was restricting myself. It was because I was letting myself have what I wanted, but in a way that did not ruin my weight loss goals. If anything, it fueled them, it helped them. Had I not had the Cool Whip as a tool that I leaned on at the beginning of this journey, who knows how well I would have gotten through this journey. It was a tool that I needed for that moment. But as you're going through, don't focus on sprinting. God, get sprinting out of your head. Even I'm, even I've lost 450 pounds and I can't sprint because this loose skin will come up and slap me in the face. And so to recap, you're no longer sprinting to your weight loss goals. Sprinting involves the scale. You get rid of the scale. And imagine how wonderful life would be if we weren't focused on the scale for our weight loss journey. And instead, we were just focused on the habits, the recipes, and making sure we were getting more movement in. Imagine just like that right there itself, that's sustainable weight loss. That's what you should be doing. But we've tied it to a scale, we've tied it to a value, and that scale's a lying bitch. And you know what else is a lying bitch? It's when you eat food or you fall off your weight loss program and you think, well, it's fucked it all up. All that work I put in was for nothing. And that couldn't be furthest from the truth. You would have to, and I'm talking severely, severely overeat. You'd have to eat the way they want you to on 664-pound life. The way those producers are sitting there trying to get you to eat food, that would be the way in which you would need to eat for a single day to make a dent in your progress. And even then, do you know how little of a dent that's going to be in the long scheme of things? None. But even then, when you get to that goal, when you get to the scale, let's say you're able to buckle in long enough and you're able to sprint and you get to that goal, well, now you're at the goal. Do you have a single healthy lifestyle tip to help you get there? No, you were so focused on losing that you weren't focused on living. How do I actually live in this body and maintain my weight loss? And the way you begin to do that is you learn that you need to repair, you don't need to restart. And so the way in which you repair, you fall off the wagon and you get back up, it is the very first thing you do is you give yourself grace. After you've given yourself grace and allowed yourself to continue binging or doing whatever you want, step 2, you then listen to the feedback. You stop thinking it's a willpower issue and you find a new strategy, something that's going to work for you long term. After you found that strategy, the next thing you do is you have a perfectly normal day. The next day you wake up, you're not overcorrecting. You're not punishing yourself. You're not saying, hey, Corey, you need to run 10,000 miles because you ate one M&M yesterday. No, that doesn't work. If anything, you're adding more work when yesterday you didn't have the work in you. You think today you're going to have 10 times that? No. Wake up the next day, have a perfectly normal day. Don't try to overcorrect and try to implement your new strategy. Even if on that same day, you're still a little bit low on your willpower, okay, implement the strategy at 50%. And then the next day, you can bring it to 75 or 100, whatever you have to do. But implement the new strategy and just give yourself a perfectly normal day and see if that new strategy works. And don't be afraid to scale it down and go from 50% to 100%. And now you made one mistake. It's taken 3 days to recover. But guess what? That was 3 days of letting your body adjust. Not once did you cause any harm to your weight loss goal. And so you implement that new strategy. Well, guess what? Then you have to implement it, see if it works, and refine it. If it's not working in that moment, find a way what you can adjust to make it seem more realistic, more obtainable for you. If it's something that you want to do, but it's just not working for you, don't be afraid to throw it out and replace it with a new habit. At a really basic level, all weight loss is the lining. You're not sprinting to that finish line to be a version of you, and you're just going to white knuckle it till you get there. No. What are you doing today? You're pretending to be the person, the goal weight that you want to. The same things that I was doing at my current weight, I was doing at 300 pounds. But guess what? I started them at 300 pounds and my body finally caught up. So you implement your new strategy. You learn from it. If it's not working, you keep changing it, keep tweaking it until it functions for you. And if you have a strategy that's working and you find that you want to level it up, guess what? Do that. Eventually level it up. But do the same thing when you level it up and listen to your body. Listen to the feedback. Failing, making a mistake isn't you being bad. It's not you having an issue with weight loss. It's not the world telling you that you can't do this. No, it's your body saying this one particular thing isn't working for me. And so make it work for you. Don't give up and don't throw it away. Get back up. And if you get really upset at yourself and you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that, I'm so mad, take it out on your scale. Go get a bat, take the scale in the front yard and show that scales who's boss. Let that be where you take your anger out on, not yourself, because it happens. I've made 12,000 mistakes this week with my weight loss program. I made 13,000 last week. I constantly am making mistakes, even now as I'm trying to get lower and lower, because it's not a perfect process and I'm having to account for me. I get the strategies and the tools that'll work, but ain't none of them ready for me. And so I have to make them ready and workable for me and a solution that's actually going to provide me long-term success. I'm constantly improving and working on them. And so what worked for me yesterday may not be working for me today, and that's okay. But that's part of this weight loss journey. It's not picking up XYZ and that's going to cookie cutter you way to your goal. It's slowly picking up habits and slowly aligning and basically faking it till you make it. Because when you have all of the actions, the diet of everything that the future 200-pound you is going to have, guess what? Then you're pretty much already at your 200-pound version. You're just letting your body catch up. So do that. Align everything you're doing. Don't sprint. Align, don't sprint. Have we gotten it? Have I made that point clear this podcast? So thank you for everyone coming to listen this week. I know we didn't have a video podcast, but I hope y'all have enjoyed it all the same. Please do me a favor. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know, what are your non-scale victories this week? But also, what are things you're struggling? What are things you're having trouble finding a strategy for? If you're making a mistake and you're failing in this one area, comment it down below. Let us know. Let us workshop it together so that we can find success. That's what this podcast is about. Plus-size people helping plus-size people lose weight. Thank you so much for listening to Wasted. And remember, you are losing what? Weight. You are not losing your personality. So go out there and have some fucking fun with it.